Cool, cool. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And, pretty much we're going to have a live camp. Today is going to be indoor. The weather is very suboptimal. And so, you don't want to get to the point where you're, not using wisdom and, brothers getting sick and all of that. So, Lord willing, the edification still goes out. And we're going to get right into it. As you can see, you are running out of time. Okay, you are running out of time. And I was having a conversation with the brother Haran this morning, and we were basically going into a lot of these this mainly this digital ID system that's being implemented, or is really it's really been set up. Okay, it's just now about implementation, in which, when we deal with these devils, whenever it comes to implementation, you always need a cover story. Most of the time, the work to have it done is already there, but they need to introduce it the right way to the people, depending on what it is. And one thing that they with a lot of their different tactics that they use, they have that pressure from above, pressure from below, because something about human nature is that when somebody doesn't have enough time to think and process what's going on, they're more likely to just do whatever it is you're telling them to do. And so sometimes these devils like to come when they want to introduce something very, very drastic and draconian on the population. They'll make it very sudden, and create this sense of urgency to where people don't have time to stop and think and say, wait, this doesn't even make sense, and they just go along with the flow. So I just wanted to open up the floor, and if Bruh's got anything, we can get into it and go from there.
Yeah, Khan. Like you said beautifully, it's all about basically the system, the what they call the theory of gradualism, right? So everything is already set in stone, and this is 2,000 plus years ago. That prophecy has been set in stone that there's going to come a time where you're going to have a power elite on this planet Earth that are going to lead the world into a certain direction, which we know as a draconian state of living, known as the beast system. Okay, but how are these things actually being implemented and actually brought into real life, right? You have other camps, prime example would be IUIC, who does not believe, okay, or at least teach that the MOTB, that last major prophecy, is indeed something that we're actually living in these days. All right, they think they claim that it's sin, and in all its various ways, so called, right? But we know that the MOTB is actually a physical device when you actually go into the breakdowns of the actual words that's written in the scriptures, right? You go back into the Greek and so on and so forth, you arrive at the same exact thing that these elites are trying to implement by way of their CBDC, all right, by way of their UBI, all right, these kind of things, by way of their so-called digital IDs, all right? These are all things that plays a major role, all right, in fulfilling this prophecy, but yet you got people who don't, they don't see it, which is all prophecy. Okay, you have those who see it, which are the elect, and those who are not going to see it. All right, so, brothers want to jump in real quick. If not, I have a quick precept to jump in real fast.
Connie, go ahead.
Con. So we can start off with the book of Psalm, the 64th chapter. All right, because again, we have, what's this? I think last week or this week is actually when they're having their so-called Davos meetings out there in Switzerland, and it happened to be Davos is held at the summit, right, which is the top of a mountain. Okay, so the Davos summit, or the Davos meetings is being held at apparently the highest point of those mountains over there. And then, of course, it's a so-called exclusive group where independent media is really not welcome there. So it's all about, it's all about these mainstream so-called media groups that are all controlled and are all a part of the agenda that's being pushed to the forefront. So really, if you're getting any news from WEF and Davos from any mainstream media, you understand that it's all propaganda. It's all to push a certain narrative, because they're all going to be saying the same exact thing. Okay, that's why we pray Yahweh Shemi Shai guide us, especially in these last days, because deception is going to be at an all-time high. With the implementation of AI and so on and so forth, they're going to do everything in their power to deceive the whole entire world. That's why Yahweh Shai said, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Okay, but because of the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shai and this wisdom and knowledge and understanding, all right, of the scriptures and of the prophecies, we will not be deceived. Okay, so let's get that in the book of Psalm chapter 64 real fast. It says, "Hear my voice, O power, in my prayer, preserve my life from the fear of the enemy." Okay, and Esau is gonna, that's two things that he uses: deception and fear. All right, in order to push a certain form of control over any form of people, he uses fear and deception. All right, so the Lord, King David is praying the same prayer that we pray. All right, that Lord, if you just protect us and preserve our lives from the fear of what? Of the enemy. Okay, it says, "Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity." Okay, and who are the ones who are doing that now? They, at least they have a face now, which is being pushed by WEF. All right, those kind of people, right? Something known as non-governmental organizations, NGOs, right? Which are all we told you this is going to happen through the whole PPP thing. All right, the private partnership, private-public partnership. Now they're now merging these non-governmental organizations and blending them into the government. So now they are the ones who have more power over the government because the government listens to them. You see, so they can pass down whatever influence they want to push. And now at the forefront is going to be what? Digital ID. Okay. It says, "Who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words." Okay. And that's where you have the propaganda that comes in. Ultimately, the lies that they push, right? The book of Job tells you that they're physicians of no value and they're forgers of lies, right? So those are all bitter words. Okay. Anything that's opposing the righteous way of order, that's what they push. Okay. You have Harari, who comes out and says that we're trying to change the organic and make it inorganic. All right, those are sharp words, man. You can't be pushing that type of shit, but that's what they're doing. Okay, he said, the giraffes, and you look at nature, you look at how vast and how complex and how beautiful nature is in and of itself. These devils said they want to do the opposite of that. That's going to be what? Death. Okay, it says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Hence, you have the secret societies, the secret meetings, and so on and so forth, because that's where they plan, all right, their agendas that they actually eventually push out. Okay, and when you look at the end of the goal, it's always going to be some form of death, because that's who they are. Okay, they are the son of perdition, meaning son of destruction. Okay, it says they shoot in secret at the perfect. And who is the perfect? The perfect is in the eyes of the Lord, the elect. Okay, we were perfected by the blood of Yahushua. Okay, so this truth is what makes us perfect. All right, the understanding of it. That's what Yahushua said, right? He said you can get the truth, but the most important part of getting the truth is understanding. Okay, what's that? Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get with wisdom, and with all that getting, get understanding. Okay, so that's the key right there. All right, it says, "Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not." Okay, so eventually they're gonna make that move. All right, what's that? First Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. Okay, and also Second Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. It all goes into that. But eventually, Revelation 12 and 12. Eventually, they're gonna make that move. Okay, and we see them building up to it day by day, week by week, month by month. Every single meeting they've been to since the 70s all the way till now is all for this preparation to bring about the MOTB. All right, so this is what we're going into. All right, that the prophecy of the MOTB and so on and so forth. As you see, the Middle East is getting hot. You know what I'm saying? It's been getting hot. Now is rising, because Iran is getting involved now. Israel and Iran, they starting to warm up over there. So we already know that it's not that much time left, as the title goes. All right. You want to jump in real quick? Any brother want to jump in?
Yeah,
what we Psalm 64. We just paused at verse 4.
Let me put you. There you go. Yeah. So as it says, right, they shoot in secret at the perfect. So just like Lamb backing off of your point, this is why, like, when you look at how these elites move, number one, whenever they spin something in the media, you don't see Jacob Rothschild's face on the news. You don't see, Evelyn Roth. You're not going to see those people. Some people don't even know they exist, right? Because they're the ones who are really calling the shots, but it's from secret. It's from the dark. They don't let it be known who they are, because there's a whole long chain of command that they send it down. So when you see people like Klaus Schwab or Yuval Noah Harari, or even Biden and all these people come up, what's that, Christine Lagarde or Lagarde, whatever her name is, and they come out and they start telling you that, oh, we need to do this and we need to do that. These are pretty much like the buffer, okay, at the end, the buffer, the face, the footmen that these elites sent out to go and be the face to the people, you know, to be like a human media, right? A medium between the elites and the people. So if anything was to happen, if people were to like get enraged or whatever, the people that they think of in their head are these frontmen. They look at Klaus Schwab, they look at Yuval Noah Harari. They're not gonna, you know, be looking at these elites, which is why they get so mad about what we do, because we know that the one behind this agenda is not Klaus Schwab. He's the one that's placed there to look like he's calling shots, but he takes orders, right? And when you go up and up and up and up the ladder, it goes all the way up to those that are really behind the scenes shooting. Number two is there's a reason they don't explicitly come out and address us, because they've tried it a couple of times, but every time, as the scriptures say, for we can do nothing against the truth before the truth. The Lord designed the truth in a way where all it needs is attention, and it already has that now. So now they're in a tight spot, because if they leave it as it is, more and more people are going to hear it, and more people are going to wake up and start to see the truth as what it is. Because believe it or not, when people watch these videos, some of them might actually say, you know what? All right, I don't believe what they're saying about the Bible stuff. I don't believe that, you know, I'm an Israelite or whatever the case is. But we don't only do videos on that. We do videos on what the agenda that they're coming with is. We do videos on who these people really are behind the scenes. So there may be certain aspects that some people won't take, but there may be other aspects that they will take, in which they'll say, what is this? I didn't know what a digital ID was, or I didn't know who this individual was. Let me go and take a look. So to an extent, that's why the scriptures say that the Lord made us a prophet unto the nations as well. People's eyes are being opened. Okay, even if it's not to the fact that they're Israelites, their eyes are being opened to the reality of the world we live in today. We don't live in a pseudo reality like they try to push on the media, and that's why a lot of people are shifting from that mainstream media to this alternative media. And when you look at a lot of these reports from simulations that these elites run, the main thing that they all have in common is controlling the narrative, controlling the media, making sure that, you know, whenever they have a situation like this, they're able to stop all these alternative information from coming in, and they can control one so-called narrative. So as it says here, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not, because it's like hiring a hitman, you know, to do the job for you. You know, you can target who you need to target, but you're not going to be afraid that, you know, somebody's going to come after you, because you're not the one directly doing it. So these devils, they know they send these different agents here and there, set up these different events, because they know that ain't nobody going to put them on trial. You know, but that's pretty much it.
Khan, and just wanted to add that you know, sometimes they have these scholars in. I believe when the first major institution that they had influence over was the Oxford University, and they would put money in, and then they will finance the scholars that are that have aligned themselves with their vision, and then they will give them like positions in those schools, and then they in turn would teach the students that come into the schools. And so if they have like a plan, like, hey, we need you to write a new legislation that help us further this agenda, then he and his, you know, top students will then get together and write this legislation, and then they will pass it on to the officials, and then they will then impose that upon the people. So that's pretty much how they do. They have all these things in place, and you know, they work behind people, even though those people work for them. That's pretty much how it is. There's also another organization called the Open Society. Now, those are those. So the Open Society are when the LGTV, all right, LGTV, I don't need to see that. But when that whole movement came out, when it first started off in what's called Europe, that message being spread around the world was carried by the organization called the Open Society, because they wanted to be all inclusive, and they wanted to, you know, change the understanding of the world so that everybody is, you know, modernized and accepting of this new ways. So what they would do is that they would send these scholars out. They would raise students. So sometimes the students may be from these schools, maybe from these countries, who they would then later send into those countries, and then they would teach these new doctrines onto these countries. So you would think, oh my God, people are kind of they're not accepting it. It's coming from one source, and they're sending your own people back into your country. So that's why they'll be sending people into Africa. You know, that common meme where that dude with the glasses was like, yo, we bring you this news. Should I call you Mister? You know that? Yeah. I don't know if brothers know that, but yeah, that meme, the whatever the transgender. Damn, I shouldn't have said that. But the person
TG,
on that
TG.
interview, I'm sorry.
The TG.
Yeah, the TG, right? The TG. But the person who was on that interview, like she gets paid. So that's pretty much how they do it. So they'll send these people out and they spread the agenda, and that's pretty much how it goes. And then they'll write books, and then but the most the worst thing that they do, well, not the worst thing, but the most powerful thing they do is that they influence the new generation by means of being a scholar. And that's pretty much what they do. So when you're actually teaching people and you instill those upon the head, then those scholars will use their skills, like their mental skills, to only forward your agenda, right? Because the thing about it is that the thing that they want to accomplish, it doesn't take might, right? They want to push it forth. Well, eventually it's going to take might to maintain it, but to establish it, they need people who are smart. And that's why they have these influence, the University of Lincoln, University of Chicago. They have all these guys, these scientists, they're pushing money towards. They're coming up with simulation, which is like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You know, like they can simulate what's going to happen in the future, and then they pass laws, and it's some crazy stuff. And then they have people in the UN passing legislation with this whole thing about the farmers. They're trying to buy out they're forcing them. It's not buying it. They don't come to you, would you like, they're forcing them to sell. They say, yo, your farming technique is harming the environment, so you have to sell. And when you sell, you have to sign a contract that you will not practice again anywhere else. And that's pretty much what they're doing. So these farmers are protesting. Now, when they go to that's how you know the people of the world are so dumb, man. When they get into troubles like this, they try to solve it by going to the officials. Like, my man, those are the puppets. They're gonna tell, oh yeah, we hear you, and then come right around and vote on that bill for it to be passed. So this is pretty much what happens, man. But hey, like the brother said, but like when you hear these various news and you hear these protests going on, it's coming from one source, but you wouldn't know that because they have these people in place, to do their bidding for them.
Hey, Khan, that's why this guy, Klaus Schwab, he said back in 2017 or so, he said, we penetrate the cabinets, right? So, that they say it, it's not like, oh, that's Psalm 64:8, that the Lord said he's going to make their tongues to fall upon themselves, because now they come out boldly thinking that they're proclaiming something that everyone should embrace, because they're so evil that their evil plans to them doesn't seem evil. It just seems normal. But to the elect, those who have a different mindset, a mind of the heavens, all right, that's on this earth today, we see it clear as day. We see everything that's wrong with it, because we can go into the scriptures and say, well, that's not scriptural, or that's against the law, or you can't say this, or you can't do this. You can't listen to anyone who comes around claiming that they are a God. When Noah Harari comes out and says that, we're not building the new world based on some God in heaven somewhere, but we are going to be better than gods, right? You should have an issue with that. Hey, Shalom, how about Shemel Shabrak? Right. You should have an issue with that. The whole world should be in uproar right now. All these so-called Christian denominations and all this shit, it seems like they're down with the program. Here it is. The Pope was the last month or two. He came out, endorsing that he's going to bless, the same, what people, what I'm saying? And that's because what? Because the Jays are pushing this shit. What I'm saying? The devils of this earth. All right. I got a quick precept here. It's the book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. All right. So going back to what Ayash was saying, they do it with everything. All right. They call it research, right? What's that? R&D, research and development, I think. Right. Yeah. So that's what they call it. So they do the research, that's where the so-called simulations come in, which is all flawed and filled with bullshit, right? And then what happens is that they actually come out and carry it out and implement it, right? So like Ayash was saying, they do it in the in the medical field, they do it in the academic world, they do it in politics, they do it in banking, you name it, they do it over there. But now we've reached a point where they've been able to influence the minds of the youth to the point where now they don't have to come in and go to your schools and teach you how the new business model is going to be. No, they don't got to do that no more, because now they've transitioned to a stage where they just have to get the mass people to jump on board with this new program. Hence, you have these so-called influencers, right? Social media influencers and so on and so forth. It's all done by design, because they're going to use these people to push the CHIP on a lot of people, because the new cool thing. And Bakar and I were going into it earlier. They have this thing called Pure Wrist. Okay, Pure Wrist is a company that already has a charagma thing that you could put around your wrist, and you could use it to scan everywhere you go. Now, Walletmore is also a company which I was telling you, their website is no longer in existence, which is kind of interesting, right? But they on their website that I was able to find, they were saying that their CHIP, all right, which is going to be your digital wallet, okay, is also going to be, you're going to be able to I guess start it up and sign up your CHIP by using the Pure Wrist app. Okay, so it's all simulated, it's all part of it. And then they're going to bring it in forcefully, right, by saying it's a requirement to have your identification. Okay, in order for you to have a banking account and all these different things, the whole world, by under the banner of the UN, will have to have a ID. Okay, that's why you have all these different people, Bill Gates and all these different people pushing hard for digital ID. Okay, this is what it's talking about. It says, woe unto them that devise iniquity, okay, and work evil upon their beds. And all the planning to bring about the MOTB is part of the iniquity that they're planning, okay, because it's not for a good cause. All right. It says, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields, right? Ayash, going back to your point, that they'll come in, they'll start off with, oh, the farmers can't use this and do that, and then next thing you know, they come in and they start taking over your land. I believe there's one of these countries, either in Europe or the southwestern part, lower parts of Asia. All right, they went in there. These are private companies. They go in there, they make deals, business deals with the governments, and they say, hey, we'd like to open up our business here in this land. And then they tell them about the benefits. Hey, it's gonna generate this much revenue if we're able to open up our business here, right? Now, that land that they're gonna take to implement to bring their business ideals is private people's land. People who from ancient years have had this land and they use it for their own thing. They come in there and they start putting infrastructure there with no permission whatsoever. So when the people try to fight it, how much power do these people have? You're fighting against a big organization that has billions behind them, and they're working with the court system. They're working with the government. So how much room do you really have to leverage to fight back? It comes down to them being physical. I mean, they come to the land and stand there a long line and say, we don't want you here, move your shit. And then the people might push back, and then they call the cops. The cop come in and tell the people who are in the land, no, you gotta leave. You gotta leave. You can't be here. You gotta leave. Oh, wait a minute. You see? And that's what they do. Next thing you know, the next week or a couple of weeks, those people ain't coming back to protest no more because something happened. What happened? They signed off on some shit. Okay? So they covered fields, right? And take them by violence, because if the people still stand there, they're gonna bring them troops in. Say, hey, you're disturbing, we're trying to work here, and these people are here trying to fight us and shit like that. They'll be gone. Okay? It says, and houses, and take them away, so they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. And the biggest form of this prophecy being fulfilled is, look at the history of the so-called Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. Okay, when Christopher Columbus came over here, Cristobal Colon, what did he do? He manifested this prophecy right here. Okay, and to show you who the devils really are, he did the same exact thing. Okay, and the people who came after him, who did that to the Southern Kingdom when they brought us over here, same exact thing. Okay, who's in the land of Israel right now? They covered our fields, and they're over there right now. Exactly. So it's all coming together, man. And that's why they don't want the prophets on the scene, and they deem everything we say misinformation, because it's coming from the scriptures. They got something known as fact checking. Nigga, what do you mean? The truth doesn't need to be checked, because the truth is the fact. You know what I'm saying? But they use these words to push people away from having real conversations, But those days are over, man. It's about to be a wrap. All right, but you got it.
Oh, I just about the covenant field. I just wanted to add what went on in the with the Levites when the earthquake happened. You know, they went in there, said, "Yo, we're gonna help you rebuild." Putting food and whatnot. But then secretly, they were drawing plans, like because there was no infrastructure. They actually started expanding fields and covenant fields so they can build a company on it. So after the flood, after they rebuilt everything, everyone said, "Yo, this wasn't here before." They was like, "Ah, nah, bro, you can't talk about that. It's our company, it's our land." And everybody's like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on?" I used to farm here. This was my farm. They said, "No, bro. This is what my company is." And yeah, that's how this man works. That's why the scripture says he's as death and cannot be satisfied. All he wants is to take. He doesn't want to take it. So okay, he doesn't have a plan to take this much. He just want to take. He just want to be in a position of always taking. That's pretty much it.
God, you got that, sure.
Yeah, just to add to the brother Ayash's point, dealing with Haiti, the Clintons basically, most people in Haiti will tell you that the Clintons own Haiti, and they got over there and established all types of foundations, and no coincidence, what increase child trafficking. They were able to, like you said, covet the fields and expand, and now all types of industry is there, and they're just pillaging the land and taking as much resources as they can. And I believe Haiti has a lot of precious metals and things of that nature. The land is very rich in natural resources. So Esau goes over there, and they said that all of this money that was donated, none of it got to the people. So this man is clearly the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Yeah, people hear the term devil and they think, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. But when you look into the word devil, it means a deceiver. And if you look at how they have, like, who the biggest deceiver is, it's them. Literally they have a track record. And if you were to go through all of the legislations, all of the events, how they even got certain property, the Rothschilds got rich through deception. Okay, they did not. Their so-called banking system is all on fraud. It's all deception. So when we call them the devil, that's exactly what it is. They got up into power by being deceivers and slanderers. And let's finish Psalm 64 real quick, and then we could jump into this article that you just sent me here. It's very interesting stuff right here. So I could finish it here in Psalm 64. I think we left off at verse 4. So continuing at verse 5, it says here, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? And how do they encourage themselves in an evil matter? The word evil means a bad time. Okay, ev meaning time or age, and ill meaning bad. So the evil matter that they encourage themselves in by having these different meetings, these closed door meetings, to basically discuss how they're going to push their agenda on the people. Now, you would think, right, that, with all the money that these people have, I mean, they own like pretty much all the majority of the world's riches. They can literally easily implement plans that can help, poor nations and people that are sick and all of these different situations. They can solve the world's problems, right? But when you look at what exactly they're trying to solve, it's not really the world's problems they're trying to solve. They're trying to solve their problems. They're trying to put into place a system that gives them more power and enslaves people even more. Ask yourself, and the brother just put the article in the chat so brothers can have access to it. How does having a digital ID benefit somebody who's starving in Kenya somewhere? How does changing the financial system, help somebody that got cancer, or some different disease that they created? How does any of that help them? But yet this is what they're focused on. This is where they're putting most of their money. You killing off sea life with all the trash that's in the water. You mean to tell me they couldn't invest in a project to clean that up? But they're worried about, Bill Gates and buying farmland. If the farmers are farming just all right, why are you buying all that farmland and telling them not to farm anymore? Now, in the I mentioned this in a video I did a couple of days ago from the movie that I watched, Blade Runner 2049. And in the prologue, there was a writing in there sort of telling you, like, getting you up to speed as to what the setting of the movie is. And they talk about how there was this blackout, and so on and so forth. All data got wiped. But there was a part in there that basically said, due to a certain individual, I forgot his name, due to his ability to produce synthetic food, they were able to avert a famine, you know. And instantly it made me think of what they're doing now. You know, I think there's a company called SynBio, Synthetic Biology or something like that, where they're saying that, I think they said by the late 2020s, everybody's going to have some form of bioengineered aspect inside of them. Whether it's the food you eat, whether it's you yourself, whether it's any of those things, you're going to have that. So if you look at the direction that they're moving, this so-called world government, who set them up? It wasn't us. These are all NGOs. And people have no idea, like you said, the danger in having NGOs make decisions about you. If a non-governmental organization owns your government, they own you, because your so-called government is there to serve you, but your government is serving them. And they don't have to adhere to any policies. They're not your government. They are literally private. Now, based on the article that you sent, there's something that they're pushing called the Internet of Things. Okay, and then you also have the IOB, the Internet of Bodies. Okay, and it's basically supposed to be a framework that connects human beings as it does different networks. You know, like you have your own network and then you connect it to another network, and that's how you have the internet. That's how we're all communicating right now. But now that they want to merge man and machine, which is what that CHIP is supposed to do, it's supposed to go inside of you and it's supposed to connect you to the network of humans. Okay, what happens then? The same way they can track wherever you are using your IP address, which is the basically the location of your network, they're going to be able to track wherever you are using the whatever identification system they identify your CHIP as. And that's supposed to give them that ability of being omniscient, you know, knowing everything, knowing where you are, what you're doing, how you're feeling, you know, and all of these things together. And how do they get you to participate? Tied to your money. You want to get somebody to participate? Create a society where everything is dependent on money and transactions, and then threaten their money. That's how you're going to get them, you know? Anybody got anything?
Yeah, hey, like in the words of Klaus Schwab, he said the next thing that's going to change everything is going to be the merging of, he said, the material world, the biological, and the digital. He said in that order. So you have the material, the biological, and the digital. Okay, and that's literally merging people to the Internet of Things, making them the Internet of Bodies. Okay, they've done the research, like Ayash was saying, the stupid simulations, right? The vain fucking shit that they do, but yet it's something that they're actually going to try and implement. Okay, like what's this guy? No, Harari. He said it. He said we're at the point in humanity where we have a chance to hack people, right? We humans have become hackable creatures. And I'm like, they use certain words on purpose for a reason. Okay, when they say hackable creatures, we think, oh, now they can kind of like use the form of hacking, going behind closed doors and, you know, hacking into a computer, that kind of thing. But what if you look up the word hack, it means to cut or to chop. So he's using it in the form of, we can depopulate this earth, control it, and then destroy it and rebuild it how we want. That's what it means to hack the creatures, hack people. They're hackable creatures. We can change you. We can use technology like CRISPR to change your very DNA. We've hacked you right there because now we've made you into a different creature. Guess what? Everybody who took that everyone who took that jump shot, that you know what, you're no longer considered a person. So now they can do whatever the hell they want to do to you because under universal something law code or something like that. I got to go back into it, but they have it where there are certain things that categorize people as human beings, where there are certain things you can't do to a human being. But if they can change you, alter your DNA, then you're no longer a human being. Now you can be patented, right? You can be a product, you can be sold on the stock market and so on and so forth, but just by a switch of your DNA alone. You see, because now there's an augmentation. They have a product that's inside of you. They have control over you because now you become a part of their system. You see, and a lot of people don't even know it. Guess what? If you got the jump shot, people can read you on their Bluetooth. You know what I'm saying? You have a whole bunch of random ass numbers that pop up. Guess what? If somebody could see it on their phone, how much more those who actually created the whole system itself, right? So it's all part of it, man. They already got people in a lockbox. It's just now bringing that shit into bringing it into the memory. You know what I'm saying? That's the next thing. All right. And for them to do that, they have to actually bring a catalyst. Hence, you have so-called disease X, which we're going to get into eventually, but it lines up perfectly with the MOTB, you know, what John's talked about. His number is 603 scoring 6, 603 scoring 6, right? That the last word there, you got high side stigma, that stigma there, you know what I'm saying? We go into that. It reveals a lot more. All right. But you know, let's I'm gonna pass it right back to you. We're gonna get into it through the spirit.
Yeah, that's why he said, here is wisdom, right? Like here, he that have wisdom, let him count the number, you know, because there's a reason why he said that. But going back to Psalm 64, verse 6, it says, they search out iniquities and accomplish a diligent search. So that's the thing. First off, it doesn't take one person, and it doesn't take 24 hours to develop the system that they've developed. The level of technology needed to be able to you know, get to where they are right now is very high. You know, like you need and when we say they, when we don't mean that the Rothschilds themselves, like they sitting behind computers and like learning all this. No, they have people who are the best at what they do in each field, and they get them to work on these projects that they need them to do. So all these people, all these engineers and all of that, they get the best of the best and have them develop this technology that is capable of doing X, Y, and Z. So like you said about hacking, when you hack, you basically infiltrate a system that's already built. You go through another means to infiltrate that system, and then you can manipulate it. You know, you can put a bug, you can crash it, you can basically format it however you want without going through the right processes. So when they're basically saying that the original manufacturer was the Most High who created the human body, we have found another way to enter into the human body and to access its core processes and manipulate it. And how do they do that? By obviously not through birth, not through life, but through, you know, external means to get inside of you and then manipulate you. Some hackers, in order for them to hack, they need to install something onto your computer that can give them access in. So if you think of it in that sense, well, what was the installation? And why were they so desperate to get so many people, you know, upload this onto so many people? There's a surgeon, I think it's a surgeon or a doctor in I think it's Florida, who basically came out. Now they put him on the news saying that he's coming and warning against the stuff. And he's saying that, look, you have to be very wary of this, because this has DNA altering effects. DNA is supposed to be your code, what makes you, what makes you human. If this is altering that, this is in essence hacking you, and it's changing you, like you said, it's changing your molecular structure. But it's doing it. If a hacker, if everybody that hacked your computer, they made it so obvious the second you got hacked, you knew you got hacked, they wouldn't be efficient at it, right? So if they're hacking your body, they're gonna make it in a way where you feel normal. Yeah, no, I felt a little sick at first, but now I think I'm fine. I don't think there's a difference between how I am now and how I was before. Meanwhile, they got all these things running behind the scenes, and you wondering why you getting sick more often, and you still don't realize it. But that's a part of them searching out iniquities. This is what they put their money, their investments, and their time into doing, not into helping people. That's not what they were created for. So it says here, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. It takes a evil mastermind to sit down and think about, you know, all these different things that they're trying to implement on this level. And the deeper you go into the rabbit hole, the more unbelievable it is that you would say, damn, these people thought of all this? Like, oh my gosh, like it is impossible without divine intervention for us to survive this. Because I mean, by the time we've realized what they're trying to do, we're literally in the midst of like a whole tsunami. Like, ain't no way you're gonna be able to make it out of this by yourself, you know.
Hey,
so if you got anything, yeah,
real quick, if you read that same verse, and I got you, ICR. If you read that same verse in the NLT, it says that Psalm 64 and 6, it says in the NLT, it says, as they plot their crimes, right? They say, we have devised the perfect plan. Yes, the human heart and mind are cunning. They say this every single time. You know, that this is the perfect thing, you know, this is the perfect device, this is going to change everything, this has all your information. It's basically the perfect device to bring society to where we want it to be, you know, and everyone must be on it, as in a collective, right? No more individualistic way of thinking. It has to be collectively done. We all got to do it, you know. When you read it in the NIV, it says they plot injustice and say, we have devised a perfect plan. Surely the human mind and heart are cunning, right? And it's not just human. It's specifically talking about these rats, all right, these devils, because they have a sinister plan. When you go into that word sinister, it goes into what? Sinistre, which is the left hand. Okay. So they have a sinister plan. And like Bakar said, it's not for people's good. They're not here to treat diseases and cure you and all this. Nah, it's about how can we put you more in a deficit so we have more control over you because of our promises. Hey, you're in debt. Guess what? You can take a loan. I'll bail you from the debt. But guess what? You owe me for the rest of your life. You want that? And then there you go. And then next thing you know, you're sitting there like, man, what the fuck? I didn't sign up for this shit. And they'll show you right in the fine print. Well, you did sign up for it. You just didn't read it. That's on you. You see what I'm saying? So this devil is always cunning like that. He'll never come straight forward with a pure agreement and say, hey, this is equal value. I'm giving you this for that. And by this time, you should be good. No. That's why scripture says, never trust thine enemy. All right. Even if he comes out, like it tells you, he'll come out crouching and, you know, he's all cute. Hey, let's make a deal. I'm here for you. We got benefits. Remember, they'll always come in with the flashy things. Before they get you, it always got to come with the flashy things, the nice cars and the money and the fame and all that bullshit. Next thing you know, you wanna buy yourself out. And they're coming with the contract and shaking your face and be like, well, remember this? And they'll say, hey, take a seat. Show them that video. Remember what you did last time? Oh, you thought okay, all right, so go ahead. Tell me what you want to do from now on, and we'll show you what we're going to do next. And that's how they move. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
I got a precept like just but I share after I share. So
The water. So I want to go into a quick precept. Go just add into what brothers are saying. Isaiah 32:5. The vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. And when you go into the word there for liberal, which is ironic because they do be calling themselves liberals nowadays, it's nadayab, and it says inclined, willing, noble, generous. They basically, you know, as a hero, as a heroic figure, you know, that's what they present themselves as. But it says that in this time, which in the header it says Israel's ultimate deliverance, right? So in this time, they're not going to be called that anymore because over the years they've been able to present themselves as the righteous, you know, as though they're coming with something that's for the benefit of people. But here it is, they're actually genetically modifying you to where you're the GMO, and they already have a legal precedent for you that if they create GMO seeds, then they own that seed. So you are now that. So they already have a legal precedent to categorize you, the accuser of our brethren, categoreo, to categorize you into something that now he can own. That's why the Indian farmers were killing themselves and there's a huge level of suicide in India amongst the farmers because they had to go along with this man's method, which was GMO and all the things that comes with it. And it's actually more expensive than doing it organically. But reading on, or actually I'll read it in NLT, it says, in that day, ungodly fools will not be heroes. Scoundrels will not be respected. Back in the KJV, for the vile person will speak villainy and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy. So that's him setting up all his evil plans, his World Economic Forum, them coming together, pushing forth witchcraft. This is clearly talking about the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And it says, and to utter error against the Lord. So they paint the Lord to be a white man. They painted over all the images of the true images of the Lord and his people and the angels. They lie about the teachings of the scriptures. They say that this doesn't count in the scriptures. So they're uttering error against the Lord to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Right. They actually physically deprive our people of food, but also the spiritual food by cutting them off from this teaching, which is the truth, and demonizing the Lord's prophets. And there's one more verse that says, the instruments also of the churl are evil. And the churl is basically a scoundrel, a demon, a wicked man. He deviseth wicked devices. So the ultimate wicked device he's coming with is what? That charagma, all right, that implantable. Okay, it says to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speaketh right. Right. So the cause of the poor, we're speaking what is right, but he's coming against it. And that's why he set up his left-hand sellouts, and they're going to be the ones indoctrinating. They're the emissaries of Satan on the left hand. All right, and they're going to be those ones to and tell them that it's okay. You can get the MOTB and nothing will happen to you. You can become a part of this system because, you know, God, you think God doesn't want you to eat? Come on, God wants you to. They're going to try to rationalize it through their wickedness and through their deception. So that is their power and deception. And that's why we're their greatest enemy, because the light shining is dispelling all of their ignorance. That's it.
Yeah, yo, I have a precept. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 20. I'm going to jump around verse 12. It says, there is that buyeth much for a little and repayeth it sevenfold. And that's pretty much how your life is when you get down with Esau Edom. You know, when he presents something to you, you're like, oh, this is convenient. Oh, this he makes everything in life affordable. He gives you the opportunity to indulge yourself in the wealth of this world, right? And like what I mean by that is, like, look at Babylon, right? The way that an average Babylonian lives is so much better than the rest of the world, and that's pretty much what I'm trying to say. So, and even Jake can come from a place of like nothing, right? He can come from the hood, poor, and then all of a sudden, this man have like $800 million in his bank account. So this man can offer you what seems like much for very little. But like the brother Haran was saying, there is that he buyeth much for little, but then he repayeth it what sevenfold. And then it's not until later on that you start finding out, whoa, hold on. This was not an equal transition. This is not what I gave up to receive is so much more valuable than what this motherfucker gave me. You know, and you dumbass man, you better realize if somebody comes to you with $800 million and you celebrity, somebody comes to you, give you all the money in the world, and then they say, okay, but you got to do this one thing. You got to sit down. Hold on. Don't you need that $800 million? What am I giving to you that's worth $800 million? Let me actually sit back and try to figure out what's going on, because there's no way somebody's going to give me $800 million. That's your freedom, your soul, man. You gotta understand that it seems so little, but later on you repay it to sevenfold. So you jump down to verse 14. It says, the gift of a fool shall do thee no good when thou hast it, neither yet of the envious for his necessity. For he looketh to receive many things for one. And that's pretty much what Esau Edom is. He's not a righteous person. He's very, very wicked. You know, when he gives you something, you have to end up paying it. It's so much more than you expect to. You know, like look at a house. You go in and you get a house. You're like, okay, well, but people don't pay attention to the interest rate. Now, if you're making a payment for 30 years, and they say, okay, well, 5% interest on every monthly payment. Well, if you actually sit down and calculate that extra money that you're paying each month, you're gonna find that you paid like double, if not triple, the house worth. A lot of people don't think about these things, you know, and that's pretty much. So if you recognize the patterns of how Esau deals with people, you got to sit back when he comes to you with the MOTB. You got to sit back. He comes to you and tells you, "Oh man, this is for your own good. This is for your medical benefits. Don't you want doctors to be able to save your life if in the case of emergency? Don't you want to be able to eat? Don't you want to be able to get rid of any allergy or whatever it is? Don't you want to be able to remember? Don't you want to be able to get rid of Alzheimer's?" And you're like, yeah, sure. But hold on, what you got to think about it. Like there is something about this man that everybody should be aware of or wary of, like just from your basic understanding of how he operates. Period. This man is not in the interest of you. He's not in the interest of your self-preservation. He's only in the interest of him taking. How can he gain? How can he receive more? And that's why when the brother Bakwa was talking about how if the Most High doesn't intervene, we can't really save ourselves. Now, I read this before, but I'm going to bring it out again. This is the Naked Capitalist. Now, this is a commentary of an actual book called Tragedy and Hope. And the man that wrote The Tragedy and Hope, he is a scholar, right? Like we established before. And he's an Ivy. He went, obviously he's from the Ivy League, and he's like a historian master. Okay, so they brought this guy in to, in other words, write the history. They're trying to write their own Bible because they're trying to establish their own kingdom and write the history of how they attained the world and preach to the world their intellect and their genius, so that people can actually reference them in the new world order. But they wanted him to hold a secret, and he's like, nah, but people got to know about it, you know. But pretty much, when he's saying, he says what it says, in a spirit of kindness, he's therefore urging them not to fight the noose, which is already around their neck. So this is him talking to the public. So he's telling you, yo, man, look, the actual reason why I'm out here, one, is because I'm here to write history. Two, because I believe that these men are the only hope for the world. And three, so to warn you to not try to fight, because the things that these men have in place, if you try to fight, they will kill your ass. That's pretty much what he's saying. So this is in a way him being kind to us. All right. So it says he feels certain that those who do not will only choke themselves to death. On the other hand, those who go along with the immense pressure, which is beginning to be felt by all humanity, will eventually find themselves in a man-made millennium of peace and prosperity. You know, and which is just another way of saying you'll be a zombie. Okay, peace and prosperity is only going to be the illusion of that world, because the only one who's actually gonna he the Prince of Peace, Yahweh Shai, the only person who's actually gonna establish true peace and happiness and joy is gonna be through Yahweh Bashem Yahshai. Esau will only offer you the illusion of it. Okay, so it says although all through his book, Dr. Quigley assures us that we can trust these benevolent, well-meaning men who are secretly operating behind the scenes. They are the hope of the world. All who resist them represent tragedy, and that's pretty much why the book is called Hope and Tragedy. He explains the hope of the world, which is the elite and the genius level intellect, and then he talks about the tragedy version, which are those who resist, or eventually ends up in the concentration camp, gets killed, and bro, they have everything set up, man. It's like it's crazy how people don't realize it, but everything is set up. You know, they have the concentration camps, so they have the train tracks built ready to it. They have all that set up, and people are so fucking oblivious to this, man. And it's like, yo, at this point, you know, like, should we? Hey, that's why the scripture said they gotta die. Like there's no hope for them. That's why the scripture talks about why the truth and knowledge is taken away from them, so that they should not repent. The Most High doesn't want to save them. That's why no matter how well we prepare a video, no matter how much we speak to these people, no matter how much we search out the iniquity and present it to these people, they still don't want to listen. They still feel like it's all good, and it's evident that, yo, these people, your fate was to just die. Your fate was just exist and then die, you know. But not those who believe in the Yahweh Bashem Yahshai.
Hey, Yash, the guy's name, was it Carl Quigley? That was him, or somebody? It's him, right? Okay, Con, yeah. There's a beautiful point that you made, all right, about people who go and die eventually. Is those who are the part of the non-elect, they all going to be put to death anyway, because that's why Yahweh Shai said, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect, right? They're bringing this new system in a very cunning way, but it's to present itself as something that's, you know, universally beneficial for the world. If we don't go about it this way, then the chaos is going to get worse and worse. Everything that you're seeing, whether it's going to be the new disease that's coming, whether it's going to be a whole bunch of FFs, T attacks, whatever it is that they're going to be doing, they'll use that as part of their sales pitch. This is why our technology has to come in and save the day. This is why you all must conform to this form of digital identification. This is why this is why that. And it has to make sense. You know, even if it doesn't make sense, they will have to force it to make sense. All right. I got a quick precept here. All right, going into what you were saying, that it's only going to be Yahweh Shai who could save us from all this hell. All right, and that's in the book of Zephaniah, all right, chapter 3 and verse 8. And then, Lord willing, if brothers don't have anything else, we jump right into that article. All right, it says, Zephaniah 3 and 8, it says, therefore, wait ye upon me. Okay, and that's been the mantra, says Yahweh Shai left 2,000 plus years ago, that we have a job to do, go ahead and do it. All right, you're going to be pushing this word, though it's the immediate lifetime at that time, which was Judea and so on and so forth. And then later on in our latter part of our prophecy, as being prophets on this side, is going to be in the uttermost parts of the earth, which is here in America, Babylon the Great. That's why you have the majority of the prophets out here in America, Babylon the Great, in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, so the Lord said, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, until the day that I rise up to the prey, and that day is fast approaching. All right, that day is known as the day of the Lord. All right, because remember, when the Lord comes back, scriptures tell you that what there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. All right, it also says that when the Lord comes back, the tribes will be, people will be wailing, they'll be mourning, and so on and so forth. All right, it's not because, oh, they saw him, now they're wailing. No, it's because of what he does. His presence marks a certain time of history that's never going to be seen ever again, never been seen before, and never will be seen or experienced ever again. So that's that time, that one event that Yahushua is going to perform that's going to bring that pain and suffering, all right, upon the wicked. All right. It says, for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. Okay, so what is Yahushua coming back to do? Two things: to deliver his elect from the destruction that he's going to be bringing down upon this place, Babylon the Great. Okay, so it's all in tandem, but that's why we pray that Yahweh shall have mercy on us. And that form of mercy is by giving us the understanding of what we're seeing today. That majority of people don't understand, they're heading straight forward into it. All right. So if brothers don't got anything else, we could jump into that article.
Yeah, Khan. And interestingly enough, as I was looking through this article, I came across something else, and this is posted by the brother Yashalam. So I found the article on that, or on the video. Now, this article here, this was back in 2023, in June 24th, and the headline reads, United Nations proposes digital ID system tied to bank accounts and mobile payment platforms. And this is something that the UN proposed, like this article came out in 2023. Now, this next article that I found, which came out on the January 15th, 2024, and the headline reads, Ethiopia to make digital ID compulsory for access to government services. And just the first paragraph, as it says, says, in the near future, all Ethiopians seeking government services will have to present a digital ID. The executive director of the Ethiopia National ID Program, or the NIDP, Zohare Zemikel, is quoted as telling local news portal in an interview. So I just wanted to point that out, which goes with the title of the lesson, which is you're running out of time, because this last year they proposed it long before, but this article came out last year. This year you're already seeing the signs, so they're moving the world in this direction. Now, Ethiopia, it says soon to be compulsory, but they're trying to establish this all around the world, and different places will hit it at different times, but the majority of the world is going in that same direction. So I'm going to read through a little of this article here, and then, brothers can feel free to interject at certain points. So this is the original article that came out in 2023. Lord willing, I'll try to throw it in the comment section so you can have access to it. But it says here, the United Nations is proposing a universal digital ID system that would directly connect to people's bank accounts and payment apps. A comprehensive new policy agenda from UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres details an identification network designed to digitize and streamline the process of verifying people's identities on a global scale. And I'm sure, you can start to already see why this is a dangerous thing. Like, basic example is something happens in one country, somebody flees to another country. Like, pretty much if they had this system in place years ago, Edward Snowden would have, his ass would have been done a long time ago, right? If the story of Edward Snowden, right? The second he tried to dip, they would have fought, catch his ass right there. This eliminates the whole like international border security, X, Y, and Z. You go fake your death. There's no such thing as faking your death. Okay, you're going to have a digital ID tied to you everywhere you go on a global level. That's a problem.
And it doesn't end there, because I believe in China they already have it established where it's also tied into your social credit score. Okay, that's a real thing. So based on what you do, that affects your social credit score. I believe it goes from 500 or something like that to about 9 something, 960 or something like that, 6 something to 960 or something like that. So you got to be within those parameters, right? And that's what determines your access level, right? Your credit score is 500. You might as well just stay home and just don't go nowhere, because at that point, you're a red flag everywhere you go. Why is this guy's credit score at 500? Oh, well, he's saying this on social media. Oh, he believes in this. He reads the Bible. He just purchased the Bible the other day. Oh, shoot his shit down. You see, so it's all going into that. They're going to tie it into your so-called UBI, because that's how they're going to bring it in. Because again, the next so-called demic, just like what happened in 2020, they said, right? And because remember we're talking about this. What they said was disease X is going to be 20 times more deadlier than the CV. Remember what Klaus Schwab said? He said the next one is going to make the CV look like a walk in the park. Now, when they said it's 20 times worse than 2020, people think, the average person would think, oh, yeah, that means that it's going to kill more people, right? That's not the point. What they're telling you is the measures that we took in 2020, we about to multiply that shit by 20 or more. All right. So now you're going to be getting into them C camps, right? Now you're going to be doing them quarantines that one shot kill, like they show you in Songbird, the Q zone. You go into a Q zone, you ain't coming back. Now, if you think, oh, we just contact tracing, guess what? That's times 20. All right. If the disease is this much deadlier, that means our austerity measures have to be that much more intensive. So that's where the draconian really comes in. That's where people are locked in. That's where you need to be signed in. If you don't sign in and we can't track you, you can't go nowhere. Your digital ID becomes that much more important, because they need to know who's traveling where, who has access to do what. Everything is going to be on a whole nother level of intensity. And that's where the perplexity of the nations comes in, as is written in the book of, I believe, Luke, all right, the 21st chapter. Okay, so we're literally building into that. They've already told you. They said disease X. Okay, how the fuck you already creating damn Vanessa for something that is unknown, hence X, but yet you're telling us that it's going to be 20 times deadlier. In other words, the measures we're going to be taking is a whole lot worse than what we did to you guys back in 2020. That's what they really mean. That's what they're really trying to tell you. So people, don't think, oh, of course, it's going to kill a lot more people, because what is it, 70%, which is about 5.5 billion people already took the jump shot. So 5.5 billion people getting wiped out is going to seem like a whole lot of people getting wiped out, as it tells you in Second Ezra that a great number will be taken away. That's what's going to be happening. You know what I'm saying? But they're letting you know, and that's why the Lord has the prophets to come out here and to show you, according to what the prophecy says, according to what these devils are saying, this is the end result. Prepare. All right, but you got it.
John, that's right.
Yes.
What's that?
I asked.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I feel like it's interesting how when they mention the thing, they immediately talk about like your money, and this is pretty much like your resources, the things that allow you to function. Now, just so you understand that this is like a warfare. This is I think a strategy called the burn earth, or can you search it up like this?
Scorched earth.
Yeah, scorched earth strategy, and just wanna read out that real quick.
What I see here is scorched earth policy. Mm-hmm. It says here it's a military strategy of destroying everything that allows an enemy military force to be able to fight a war, including the deprivation and destruction of water, food, humans, animals, plants, and any kind of tools and infrastructure.
Right. So that's the deprivation, or what they call the force of attrition. So what they will do is that they will take away all the things that allow you to function, so that today you may happily accept it, but let's say 5 years down the line, or 10 years down the line, you're like, nah, we ain't with this. Now they have control of all your resources. You want to go out and protest, try not eating for a month, and let's see if your ass is going to be out there in them street protesting in front of the Capitol building. And this is pretty much the subtle things that people have to really pay attention to. You never actually want someone to have complete control of your resources. You never don't. That's why I keep every time I have the chance, I always want to do videos on farming. Don't let these niggas tell you that they have to take control of the farming for the sake of the environment. Don't let don't give them. Don't give them control of your resources, because when they have control, they deprive you, and now you're at their mercy. You have to actually do whatever it is that they want you to do. You're not a kid. They ain't your parents. You elected them in office, and then after that, they got a dip. And then in order for them to rule over you, they have to appeal to you. Isn't that what democracy is? But you guys out here are just like so fucking dumb when they come up and speak smooth words and oh, this is for your benefits and all these. Oh, I'm from Oxford University or the UN. Yeah, to hell with all that, man. It's when they have control of your money, that's it. You're done. You want to run away, you need money for that. Not even that. Like, you want to travel, you need money for that. The fucking Esau's gonna catch you. But yeah, you wanna travel. Yeah, that's the thing. You want to travel, you need money for that. But then Esau could just easily take your money. You want to protest, you can do your savings. Like when the whole thing came up, when people wanted to protest it, people were actually able to weather through it because they had some savings on there, and then they were able to kind of do everything to the best of their ability to do it, to get through it. But this man comes up and wipes out all your savings. What are you going to do? So that's very, very important for you to understand how the world works. You have to be very vigilant of little things like this scorched earth policy. When your enemy can destroy your resources, when they have access to it, it's over for you. Okay, and when your fighting spirit is taken away from you, yes, you're a dead man. You're just a walking corpse until the day that you actually curl over and die.
Hey, it all makes sense why the past couple of years they were burning down the food processing plants. They had back in 2020, they were like, oh, the supply chain, which Klaus Schwab said it. He said he said, we don't know how this is going to play out, but what we do know is that the system, this food supply chain system, and all these different things, the electricity, the power grid, everything you're used to will be deeply affected. He said deeply affected. That means that it's a destruction from core, like the core, the center of it. It's not like, oh, this person lives here, so they're gonna be good. Nah, it's the actual system itself. The system of transaction is being changed, and for you to maneuver through it, you have to be a part of that change. And if you ain't a part of that change, forget about it. And they're not just going you elected, you don't want to be a part of that change. That's okay. It's going to be, if you're not a part of this change, there is nowhere for you to be in this world. We must eliminate you. You see? And that's where people are going to be like, well, what the fuck? Why they already have the plan, depopulation. So if they have that agenda, ain't nobody safe. That's we're going to leave it at that. But you got it.
Yeah, Khan. I just also saw a notification here. It said that missiles hit U.S. I think U.S. like forces or something like that in Iraq. So that's we know things are still intensifying over there. But if brothers don't have anything, I'm gonna continue on this article in here real quick. All right. So continuing, it says here, the proposal is outlined in a section dedicated to global digital cooperation and sustainable development goals. Digital IDs with bank or mobile money accounts can improve the delivery of social protection coverage and serve to better reach eligible beneficiaries. And that's the thing about it being linked to digital accounts, is because remember that everything that's digital, it can be accessed without, being in person. So that means that if, for example, you owe somebody money, they will come find where you live and say, yo, you owe me money, especially if you're dealing in cash, give me my money, right? If it's digital and they have the ability, banks and corporations and like IRS and stuff like that, they'll pull it from your account. They don't need to come and find you. They don't care where you are. They don't care what you're doing. They just know the second it hits 12 a.m., that money is automatically pulled from your account. So now with this digital ID and stuff like that, you can forget about scamming and all of that shit. That's out the window. They know exactly who you are, exactly how much money you have, and they can either put money in there, withhold money, freeze money. Like, think about how the whole concept of student loans gets reworked. The whole concept of taxes gets reworked. Like, think about how all these things get reworked because it's linked to your digital ID. Your digital ID is going to be linked to other things as well, not just your bank account. So, like what you see with YouTube, you want to post a video, you want to use the internet, you gotta have your digital ID linked to your account on there, so we know who you are and what you're doing. So now, if they say you went and posted something online, we deem it criminal activity. Because of that, we're gonna fine you a certain amount. Guess what? You're just gonna see a transaction on your account. You wake up one morning and there's like -500. What the hell happened? Oh, instead of YouTube's email telling you we gave you a strike, you'll be getting another kind of email telling you we gave you a fine. And then they're gonna go back and find some other videos and just keep taking that money out and shit. So just think about how far this goes. They can control what you do, when you do it, how you do it. They see what you buy. If you go to the store and you always buying, I don't know, fried chicken, and they tell you, well, you can only eat a certain amount this week. You go in there, you try to go over, it's going to alert them. And you're not going to be able to do, like, this is the level of control and servitude that they're going to put you in when they implement this. But they're not going to tell you this. When they push this to you, what we just read here is what? Dealing with security and social protection. Are they going to tell you, oh, by the way, what this also means is if we tell you to do something and you don't do it, we're going to have power to implement some painful consequences? They're not going to tell you that. This is part of the hidden part inside of the agreement. Page 986, of a 1,000-page agreement. They know you ain't even going to get past page 5. So they're going to put it right there. But anyway, it says
they could force you to it's like the whole thing with the chicken. They could force you to drink roach milk. They could force you to eat some insects for the for the environment. Yeah.
You got it, Shalom.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I just wanted to say real quick as well what you were saying about how they could pretty much take out money and things like that. Think of it like with your current bank account today. Like there's certain times, right? Like my bank knows certain payments and things like that I do. But if I go like over a certain limit, or if I pay like a large amount, they'll freeze my account. Like, whoa, stop that. And I got to go verify with them. It's like, did you do that? Was that you? And it's like, yeah, that was me. Just unlock my account. So that's pretty much what it's going to be. It's going to be like, you got to verify with us, whatever you do. If you go over the limit, we're going to stop and freeze your thing.
Yep.
Just want to give that example.
Yep. And you got those the whole, like, this makes it easier to implement the whole concept of like 15-minute cities, right? If you leave a certain jurisdiction, then they shut down all your shit. It doesn't work. All right. If you are in violation of anything, they can just shut it all down, and it doesn't work. And guess what? If your driver's license is attached to this, you're not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? The second you get in the car, they're going to find out, because here's now a new level that they can take this to. Imagine now when you're driving, a cop pulls you over. They're like, license and registration. Ah, shit. Let me try to get my, I forgot my wallet. Cool. But you can drive today without a license. Just hope the cop doesn't pull you over. But if we make that digital and we set up checkpoints on every couple of miles that reads every car that passes by, it reads your signal and makes sure that your digital ID has your driver's license on there and it's registered and it's active. The second you pass a certain checkpoint and we read that and we find out this guy, his shit is expired, or he doesn't have his driver's license attached to his digital ID, it's going to go off. And next thing you know, this cop is behind your ass. You wondering, what the hell happened? How did he find me? The license and registry. I know you don't have it. Get out the car. Like, imagine the level they can really take this to, because once everything becomes digital, you open up a whole new world of control where everything is automated. Like the video you posted out, Haran, where the dude ended up in jail, and there are no humans. You can't talk to human beings. It's all machines. So he's out here like, I forgot what the case was. I think, there was a drone that pulled up to him, and the drone pulled up with handcuffs, and it was like, put these on. You under arrest? He said, under arrest for what? The drone pulled out a gun. He said, you got X amount of time to put these handcuffs on, or else we're going to resort to lethal measures. So he's like, what? So he puts it on. It takes him to the prison. He goes into the prison. There are no people there. It's just machines. And then the machine tells him, walk this way, make a left here, enter this cell. Then the shit locks. Now he's in there. He's like, can I talk to somebody? I want to talk to somebody. So then the screen comes up and says, they were basically saying, do you plead guilty or not guilty? He says, I just want to talk to somebody. Okay, I guess we'll go with not guilty. He said, no. I'm not saying I'm guilty. I'm not saying I'm not guilty. When he said not guilty, he said, oh, okay, so you're pleading not guilty. So eventually they allowed him to make a phone call. I think it was to the chief of police or whatever. He's like, yes, make the call. They're like, do you agree to this call? He didn't read no terms and policies. He just said, yes, make the call. That shit had the call ringing for X amount of time. He fell asleep and woke up. The shit says you've run out of money. Now you can't make no more calls. Because basically in the hidden fees, they were basically saying, we'll charge you like, I don't know, this amount of money per every second that you're on the phone. And so as the phone just kept ringing and nobody picked up, that shit took all his money out. So he's stuck in jail. He can't talk to a human being. He's broke as shit and he doesn't know when he's getting out. This is like just an example of like what happens when you're dealing with machines. Machines don't hesitate. If it pulls you over and it's programmed to say, tell this person they have 5 seconds to get out the car or start firing, the robot is going to 4.9, 4.10, that shit is firing and you're dead. You know, so these are the dangers of breaching into that digital world, especially when you have these demons as like the administrators of all of this. Cool.
Quick precept.
Yeah.
There's a book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 17. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right. So that very precept goes into so many different ways that it could be actually, it's actually going to be happening. But the number one thing that we could all easily just think of our heads is not being able to be allowed to go places because you don't have the credentials, right? You want to go somewhere, like you desire to, travel, but now you can't because you don't have the real ID. But they said the DHS said by May 7th, 2025, anyone who you don't have a real ID, which is basically your license and all that stuff, is not on that real ID. You're not going to have access to federal buildings. That means taxes. You can't be filing taxes, or you can't go into any government buildings or anything like that. You can't board a plane, right? And at that point you don't have a real ID, so you can't really drive because it's tied into your driver's license. Right? You can't go to, you can't be identified because why? Well, your health records are not really matching up because we see here that since 2020, you haven't even got one shot. How the hell are you here? You don't even count as part of any of this. You're missing out on 4 years of things that has been going on. You ain't even part of it yet. You have a whole lot of work to do. So they're going to be putting these kind of things out there, those restrictions to fulfill these prophecies. Again, Ezra was in this time. He's here right now. And he's seen all these things that he documented those thousands of years ago while he was on the earth. You see? So it's easy to see these things coming to pass as is written thousands of years ago before. But we have the ability to actually understand it in real time. Read the scriptures and actually see it. Even though it's happening on a slow, incremental level, it's still happening. And that's the point of prophecy. Prophecy means something that's been said before it actually happens. So yeah, you might think, oh, well, but the whole world is not under a lockdown yet. But guess what? Ezra wasn't in the whole world. Wherever he was at, seeing those articles, seeing those daily events happening, he recorded it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, oh shit, I see people doing this. I see the military going through here. Is that 2nd Ezra 16? I see people getting rounded up. I see those who believe in the Lord coming under heavy persecution. I see the Lord coming back with a gigantic UFO that looks like a mountain, and he's destroying these devils, and they're fighting back. I see this. Like, he's writing all these things down. And now today we're seeing it all come into play, and like, oh, okay, now I see that 2nd Ezra, it makes sense now because of these legislations. Oh, I see they're doing this. So it's all coming together. You know what I'm saying? So hey, Twadi Halbashim Yasha for this knowledge, man. You got it.
Gone. Yeah, that's right. All right. So let's go back into this article here. All right. So it says here, digital IDs linked with bank or mobile money accounts can improve the delivery of social protection coverage and serve to better reach eligible beneficiaries, which means it's easier to reach more people, which also lines up with Revelation 13 and 16, right? Causing all, both small and great. The proposal follows a move by the World Economic Forum to explore systems that would track and verify human identities using biometrics. Now, you know what the interesting thing about this is, right? We've been prophesying about this, right? Going back, starting with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, about the direction that they were going to go in. As a matter of fact, we've been prophesying about the end product, right? In Revelation 13 and 16, about how they're going to introduce this biometric system, and that's how it's going to be, your transactions are going to be made. Now, how is it that they decide of all different possible ways to go, they want to go specifically with this route of using a biometric system in order to track and trace people and to purchase items and so on and so forth? They could have used any other means, any form, and they could have gone with anything, but they're going with the same exact thing that we've been prophesying that they're going to go with. Okay, going to show you that there's no way around prophecy. We're like you can just even do an experiment and just listen to what we've been saying they're going to do, and just look at the news and see what the direction of the world is going in. We're not the ones telling them like, yo, this is a good idea, try this. We're just telling them, hey, according to prophecy, this is what you're going to do. And then they do it anyway. Anyway, it says digital technologies may help to reduce leakage, errors, and costs in the design of social protection programs. The proposal follows a move by the World Economic Forum, right, to which is an NGO, to explore systems that would track and verify human identities using biometrics. Now, imagine how well that would work during a epidemic, like you said, because they can say, well, if we look at the mortality rate of the C19, right, it wasn't that high, and yet so many people died. That means that if we're dealing with something that's much more lethal, we need to take even extra measures to make sure that we don't have this mass casualty, because clearly we didn't do enough for a non-lethal pathogen to cause this many deaths the last time around. So this time we really got to be on top of it. And wow, lo and behold, the WHO got the treaty signed for them. So they already got the power set. That's why this guy's coming out. I think it was the head of the WHO, the question mark, came out and said, who was it?
Tedros.
Tedros, right? That dude. Basically came out and said, prepare for disease X. It's like they just know. They know the unknown, but yet it's still unknown.
Right, which is all psychologically done that way, because now when they bring those measures, it's to prevent these kinds of deaths, right? Now they told you this is 20 times deadlier than CV. And look what we did to you guys during CV. So now we got to take these measures to avoid anything that could be 20 times deadlier. So that means we need to digitally identify you. We need to do all this extra shit. So now they're justified. And guess what? Like we talked about, everything is X, 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 X. For some reason, the theme of this year is X. X is another way of saying death, right? X mass, right? Death to the masses. Now, it's interesting because there's going to be another eclipse in April of 2024 that basically the first one happened in 2017. I believe it was in August or October of 2017, where it was it was a line that came from the west all the way down to northwest of America, all the way down to the southeast of America. This new eclipse is going to literally make an X from northeast of America all the way to the southwest of America, right? So that makes an X, okay? And that's what, in April of 2024. Now, May of 2024 is when the WHO and all these different 193 or 194 countries are signing onto that One Accord Treaty. That gives basically the WHO the autonomous ability to call for a shutdown in any country, any nation under a perceived threat of what is known as a health emergency of global concern. Okay, the moment you hear those words, it's a wrap. It's a done deal. Forget about I can fake this and I can do this. Nah, that's when the whole digital implementation takes place. Okay, it has to be done by way of a T attack or a disease. Hence, disease X unknown, but we know that it's going to be deadly. We know that we should start preparing. We know that if you don't take this, Vanessa, this and that. Look how much they harassed people. You couldn't go to work. You couldn't go nowhere. It was like literally being shunned out of society. And that was for something that was nothing, which Klaus Schwab considers a walk in the park. So imagine what's about to happen. Okay, they've talked about the power grid being being shut down, right? They have ways to justify that shit. They could just say, look, it's so cold out now. You know, people, the grid can't hold on. It's old. We need to change it. It can't hold on to all this, many people on it. So boom, it's a collapse and it's justified. Look at all these banks over the past year alone, last year. It started with the SVB bank and it just kept on going on and on and on to now. People are desensitized to the fact that banks are closing all over the place at a drastic time, and a drastic amount of banks are closing so quickly, and nobody's paying attention to it. These are all being done by design, incrementally, step by step, but it's what I call accelerated gradualism. Okay, it's gradualism nonetheless, but it's accelerated. It doesn't take 5 to 10 years to do anymore. Now it just takes months, every 3 to 6 months or so, because over the years they've had all these legislations that just play out in the time of emergency. That's all they're doing. All right, so get ready for the big one, like they said.
That's right. All right, so it says here, the forum has teamed up with the Swedish biometrics company Fingerprint Cards and is exploring blockchain-based digital ID platforms that put privacy at the top of all major priorities. The UN notes that despite the rapid advance of technology around the world, more work is needed to provide equal access to the digital revolution and to reverse ever-growing gaps in wealth distribution. And that's also an important thing that they do, which is that they push out, like as they're introducing new measures, they try to calm the nerves of people by making it seem as though, yeah, this is something new, but don't worry, it's not ready yet. You know, it's not like something that we're just going to throw at you tomorrow. You know, just calm down. Meanwhile, look, I forgot who said it, but he said basically whatever technology you see on TV or you see out in the public, they have the real technology they have that's behind the scenes is about 50 years advanced of what you have access to now. Okay. So when they come out and tell you, oh, we're still exploring and more work needs to be done, this agenda they've had, this wasn't like something they thought about yesterday or last year. They've had this for decades. You mean to tell me that as technology advances, they never put in any measures into place to develop this? Do you mean to tell me that as they're informing the public of it, that's when they're developing this? Absolutely not. Development is done. The infrastructure is done. The plan is already set. It's now about the phase of introducing it to the public gradually, you know, and making it seem as though we're working alongside this and that and working through these issues to make it a reality. So it says here, digital technology has led to massive gains in productivity and value, but these benefits are not resulting in shared prosperity. The wealth of those in the top 1% is growing exponentially. Between 1995 and 2021, they accounted for 38% of the increase in global wealth, while the bottom 50% accounted for only 2%. And they're trying to, I mean, do you think that introducing a digital financial system is going to supposedly close this gap? Because there's always going to be somebody that's exempt. There's always going to, anybody, for example, you design a system, the system administrator has more power than the users of the system. You know, so there's never a society where a new concept comes about and everybody is just on an equal playing field or on an equal level. It doesn't work that way. Somebody always has a higher level. That's just the hierarchy, okay, of society. So it says here, digital technologies are accelerating the concentration of economic power in an even smaller group of elites and companies. The combined wealth of technology billionaires, $2.1 trillion in 2022, is greater than the annual gross domestic product of more than half of the group of 20 economies. Okay, and basically this article, that's pretty much the end of this article, but it was pretty much like a little snippet of what these what the UN is proposing. Okay, and the danger of this is, like we said, a digital ID system that can track you wherever you are across the globe, and on top of that, tied to your bank account. Okay, you can't do anything here because this society is set up to be transaction based. You can't do anything in this society without money. Okay, try going without an ID and without money and see what happens to you. You're going to realize very quickly how much everything is transaction based. you need to pay rent to have a place to stay. But even when you have a place to stay, you need to pay Con Edison if you want electricity, or whoever you pay for that. You got to go and buy groceries if you want to be able to eat. You can't plant things in your backyard. Even if you wanted to do that, you got to go and buy the seeds. You got to go and buy the fertilizer. You got to go and buy the water. You know, you got to go and buy the permit. Okay? You got to go and buy everything in order to even try and survive in this society. If you want to go to the store to buy the stuff you need to pay for transportation. Unless you're finna walk for wherever it is. You see? So everything is designed in a way where you need to pay for everything. Pay for your Metro card, pay for Uber, pay for whatever it is that you're trying to pay for. And not every system takes cash. A lot of them are now going digital, where you got to have a card or Apple Pay or some form of a digital payment system if you want to be able to deal with these services. So you try living in a digitalized society or a transaction-based society without an ID or without money, and see how that goes for you. You got it, Yash?
Even if you own like your own land growing up, you have to pay like property tax. So like you eventually have to keep giving to the system, and that's pretty much what this man has created. Yeah. You know, that's why he makes it's gonna be, when this thing is introduced and people are convinced to take it, they in turn are like the people that are making the thing. They're actually gonna ease back on the advertising, and then the people who took it first are gonna be doing the advertising themselves, because they're gonna be like, yo, this is no different. This fits perfectly into my life. But what they don't know is that, like a rat, their situation was conditioned exactly to that moment that they wanted them to. You know. So yeah, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this other article, the one that I just brought up, this was from just a couple of days ago, actually, about the Ethiopia making this digital ID compulsory. So continuing from where we left off in here, it says, according to Zamikil, the move is part of a government plan to ensure that all government services are integrated into the digital ID. So they're already letting you know straight up that this is the plan. We're trying to integrate all government services, and everybody that lives depends on some form of a government service. You want to deal with IRS or taxes, you have to pay taxes, and you got to file at the end of the year. That means you got to rely on some government services. You know, if you want to go to the DMV or you want to go and set up your ID or whatever, you got to, these are all government provided services that you have to rely on. And even if you rely on a fraction of government services, you're going to need to have a digital ID to access that. So whether you rely on it heavily or you try to rely on it very lightly, you're going to need a digital ID to interact with the system. And that is what we read about in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, as the Apostle John, prophesied or wrote down at least what he saw concerning the system. The reason they're saying here that they're going to tie it to your bank accounts, if you don't have a digital ID, you're not going to be able to make purchases. And if you can't make purchases, like we said, you're pretty much not in society. You don't exist. You only exist in the digital realm because the world has now become the digital realm. So now let's let me keep reading on here, and if brothers got any precepts, you can bring them out. It says here, although under 4 million people have so far been enrolled for the digital ID dubbed FADA, the country expects to register 90 million eligible citizens by 2028. The initial deadline for this target was 2025, but that is no longer possible as the process has witnessed significant delays. But just as you have delays, you can also have speed ups. The delays are caused by, hesitancy in the people. The speed ups are caused by crisis and catastrophe that justifies, you pushing the system like this. If there's a T attack and they say, oh, that's it, we need to track everybody, we need to bring it down, we need to make sure we don't know if there's sleeper cells among us, we don't know who's here, who's doing what. That's one way they can go about it. If there's a disease X, we need to track and trace. That means tracking means everybody got to come in and line up and get your ID, It says here, while the digital ID proclamation okayed by Parliament last year doesn't make enrollment for digital ID a mandatory exercise, the legislation gives government and private institutions the right to deny service for lack of the ID. Government and private institutions, public and private sector. That's the whole shebang right there. They can deny you services if you don't have the ID. So you come into my store, or you come into this building saying you need X, Y, and Z, whether it's a hospital, whether it's a pharmacy, whether it's a grocery store, whether it's a government building, and they say, "Can we see your digital ID, please?" "Oh, I don't have one of those." "Oh, well, sir, you can register for one, or we can't serve you." I mean, now put yourself in this situation and ask yourself, what do you do? If you really, really need this service, you go to the hospital and they say, "Oh, yeah, we're just going to need to get your digital ID and then we can get you processed in the system." And you're saying, "I'm in the ER, I need some help." And they're like, "Well, if you don't have a digital ID, we can't help you, or we can't help your son, or we can't help your daughter." And you're looking at the doctor like Kurt Angle and shit. You're looking at him with that face, and he's looking at you like, "I'm sorry, man, my hands are tied." Literally, that's just how it's set up. What you gonna do? You're gonna fight the system? The system is in place. This is a worldwide system. You're one individual. What are you possibly gonna do? And these are the things that people don't think of when we warn them about this. This is the kind of temptation that's gonna cause people to give in, to break and say, "Yo, I'm sorry, but I'm not willing to let my child, suffer any longer because of a simple digital ID." Like at that point, then the digital ID becomes simple. You know what? Whatever. You're gonna reason with yourself to say that actually I'm doing the right thing because I'm trying to save a life. And along with that comes, well, now I can finally get a job. Now I can finally get paid. Now I can finally go here, and there. This is why the scriptures call it the hour of temptation. You will be tempted every single day. It's not going to be the first day it comes out and you say, "No, I'm not going to take it." Then you're fine for no, because tomorrow you may be faced with another situation. Today you may be denied at the grocery store. Tomorrow you may get fired at work. The next day you may get pulled over by a cop, and they may tell you, "The next time we see you without a digital ID, you're going to jail." You see, you're going to be consistently tempted. This hour is not a 60-minute thing. Okay, this is going to be a temptation. That's why the scriptures say the Lord is going to have to keep us, whether by providing for us an alternative means of survival, or mainly by keeping us strong in the spirit to be able to endure these different temptations and still remain faithful and say, "No, we're not going to take it," even if the world makes you feel stupid for it. Yo, you really going to sit there, bro? It's just a simple thing, bro. Everybody got it. Like, why are you being extra for? Like, yo, my man, you just got fired, bro. Like, you about to be homeless, and because of a simple the Bible says not to take it, so you gonna freeze to death? That's mad dumb, bro. Like, you just gonna let your family suffer like that just because you don't want to take this shit, bro? Stop being stupid, bro. Just go take. They're gonna start to belittle you, make you feel like you're crazy because you're doing the most for something so small, and that's gonna be a part of that temptation. You got that, Shar.
Precept, yeah. Before you even said temptation, I had this queued up, so the spirit already had that in my mind. But Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
You got it.
So, yep. So, hey, like the brother was saying, this is going to be that great time of testing. And the people are not going to be able, they're not equipped, and they haven't been given the gift of faith to know and understand that something so small is the one thing that can hold you back from salvation. All right. So they're going to be inclined to, because they belong to the world already. So they're going to rationalize it, like the brother was saying. I'm going to read the 11th verse as well. "Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." Right? Hold it tight, because Yahushua is coming back. And that when this thing happens, it is going to be a great time of testing, but it's also a great time of rejoicing. Once they tell you you're locked out the system, that's the time that we should be rejoicing the most. Okay, so that means the Lord is about to deliver us, because that's what is written. As soon as that happens, as soon as this thing, what we've been going into, what the brothers have been going into, as soon as this happens, that means that the Lord is going to have to intercede on our behalf, because we're at that point helpless sheep, we will have no protection if not for the Lord intervening. So that's why we have to rejoice and continue to pray and do the best to connect with our power now before the great and dreadful day that he is going to return.
Gone.
Ayash, you got it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that when you go into that word temptation in Revelation 3:10, I believe the Greek word is parasmos, all right, and it says an experiment, an attempt, a trial, or a proving, right? And that's exactly what a temptation is, because ultimately this is the Most High's test, right? It's to prove us. Ultimately, that's why Yahushua said, "He that endureth till the end, the same shall be saved." Right? That means that there's going to be a lot of people who are not going to be able to endure this kind of temptation all the way till the end. You know, you might have people who are with us today that might endure to a certain degree, but the Lord might say, okay, well, you're not fit for the kingdom just yet. You're not going to make the cut. You know, so you got to endure till the end, literally go through the whole process, right? It says an enticement to sin, right? So yes, the MOTB, taking the MOTB is sin, but the MOTB itself is not sin. If somebody was to ask you, what is the MOTB? The MOTB is the RFID microchip, point blank, period. All right. It's not, you're not going to give an answer and say, oh, it's sin. No, that's not the answer. But you could say it is sin to take that. You see, it is a device. The RFID, you know what, is a device. If you take it, you have sinned against the Heavenly Father. You've broken the first law, which is you can't have any other God beside me. All right. So you've done it. All right. It says, whether arising from the desires or from the outward circumstances. And that's why they're building the outward circumstances now. Okay, if you pay attention to what happened in 2020 all the way till now and what they're planning for the future, it's all going to be outward temptations based on circumstances, right? Like brothers gave examples of working and being able to drive and harassment and all these different things, like Nazi Germany, right? Show me your papers, but this time it's going to be digital. Okay, it says of the condition of things or a mental state, right, by which we are enticed to sin. So again, we'll also have a form of a will to fight, right? If it's a mental state, you just got to be in the spirit of, if Yahweh Shem Yahushua is with me, I'll make it through this day. You know, take it day by day. Everything that we've been going through now, you know, when people looked at the world as normal, it's never been normal for us, because it's always been some form of hardship that we had to go through. That was all part of the purification process. Because of your faith, right, it pushes you away from the ways of the world, which is perfectly fine because we've been separated from the world, right? That's what the word holy means, right? It says by which we are enticed to sin or to a lapse from the faith and holiness. And what do we have? We have the faith and the patience of the saints, which is this truth, okay? The prophecies that states that eventually when the Lord comes back, he will deliver us from this captivity and institute a new government on this earth, where it's going to be the earth will be dwelling in righteousness. Okay, a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's what pushes us every single day. The kingdom, the kingdom, the kingdom. You know, as brothers can see now, you see how fast the days are moving? I know it ain't just me. Yesterday I was driving and I was just like, yo, damn, like tomorrow's already Saturday for camp. We just had Saturday. Like it feels like a few days ago. You know, so the days are definitely being sped up, man. Time goes by like that. Yo, I'll be at work. I go in 9 to 10. It's like 30 minutes now. It feels like you be working on some shit. You look up and you're like, damn, it's already 11. Like, yo, it's time is speeding up, man. It's crazy. But the Lord said he's going to do these things. And that's another thing. These devils don't have much time. Neither the people of this world have much time. Okay, quite literally. It says temptation, i.e. trial of the Most High by men. Okay, so who are the men who the Lord is going to use to try the world? These elites. All right. With the forefront of it is the WEF. All right, the World Economic Forum. Okay. And I believe when you go into that word forum, it goes into a marketplace or agora. All right. So everything is all being brought back to life again. Right. It says here, rebellion against the Heavenly Father, by which his power and justice are, as it were, put to the proof and challenge to show themselves. Right. So rebellion against the Heavenly Father is what's being done now, but they want to take it a step further. Right. They're not just putting it out there. They want you to also rebel. All right. That's why in Revelation 13, verse 16, it says, he calls all both one great and free and bond to receive. Right. By you receiving, you've agreed to that contract that, OK, you're going to be my God now. I'm going to bow to you. You could put your print or your mark on me. That's hence you get the stigma aspect of it. Okay, so it's all coming into play perfectly, man. And we, hey, Shai, that we have the ability to see these things and to what and to give the sheep the warning, as it's written in Ezekiel 3:17. Okay, but Ayash, you got it.
Okay. Well, so speaking of the test of Yahweh Bashim Shai, the temptation. Now, to understand like how significant that is, or how scary that's going to be, you just have to like consider the life of Job. Now, this man, so if you want to actually want to understand what it means for the Most High to test you, to try you, all right, it's not a light thing. That's why the brother was saying it's not going to be something where I made it to Monday to Friday, let me wait for my next check. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be something that you're in, right? That affects you, it affects your children, it affects your woman, it affects your whole household, and it's something that you're going to be in for a while to prove your faith to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Now, the Psalms 69 chapter, it says, "For the Lord Yahweh heareth the poor and despiseth not his prisoners." So the only way by which you go through this hour of temptation is if you actually live your life for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You have to make an allegiance with him. You have to present yourself to him and say, "Look, man, I'm gonna give my life for you, and then just it's in while it's in your hand, just preserve it." And that's pretty much how you're gonna get through the hour of temptation. It's only through Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that you are able to endure and have victory over the fucking devil and his system, right? And not take the MOTB. Now, the Most High does not what? Does not it says the Lord Yahweh does not what? He said he does not despise his prisoners. Now, did not Paul say that he's a prisoner of Yahweh Shai? And did not Yahweh Shai said for us to take his yoke upon our neck? And the yoke is what? The sign of what? To be prisoners of him, to be slaves of him. So if you want to be a servant of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, is the only way by which he saves you. A lot of people think that because a lot of people, some people know about the biometrics and how the government or how the elites are trying to control the whole world. But the manner in which they wish to escape, it's like it's not a plan at all. They think it's a good plan, but it's a horrible plan, because no one is going to make it except through Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. I believe I'm forgetting this precept, but it was in the book of Isaiah where Isaiah prophesied about the Babylonians, and he specifically told the Israelites, "Look, man, even though it's the Babylonians that are coming against you, I will turn back your means of war because it is me, the Most High Himself, that's fighting against you." Because a lot of people think that, hey, I'm gonna, once I hear this, and I'm gonna make some plans. I'm gonna get some ration and buy a land and be a farmer, live in the woods and all these things. These are your means of war. The Most High has dealt with people like you back in the days. He's dealt with stupid ass Israelites who, when they hear the judgment, they think they can make it on their own. But you can't make it on your own. You're supposed to make yourself a servant, a prisoner of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and after that, He's gonna preserve your life. And that's why it talks about in the book of Sirach, says, "My son, if thou wilt serve the Most High, prepare thyself for temptation." Because this is how you prepare for temptation. You make yourself an ally of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You make peace with him, and then in the hour of temptation, what? He delivers you. So that's why you have to be rooted in this truth. This truth is like like Paul puts it, your armor that shields you for all the crazy shit that's going to be flying off in the day of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. But it requires work. It requires sacrifice. It requires a little bit of you to prove yourself to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And after that, you receive all the privilege you can never receive. All right. So that's pretty much what I wanted to, add upon that, because people, they do believe in prophecy, but they think it's a light thing. They understand when you break down the word. Okay, yeah, I get it. The charagma and incision and all these things, it all fits together. But then when you tell them how to escape these things, or when you tell them how to endure through these things, now they kind of looking at you funny. Oh man, what you saying kind of sounds serious. So let me, you telling me all I got to do is just sit here and be a servant of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai? Yeah, I don't know about that. Let me go out and get some guns. Let me go out and barricade my door and reinforce my door so that when the troops come, you dumbass, it's not going to work. This is the reason why we come out here. This is the reason Yahweh Bashim Yahushai sends his prophet out here to tell you that the only means by which you can preserve yourself is through Yahweh Hashem Mashiach. That's the reason we're here. Because if that wasn't the reason, then if that wasn't the only means by which you save yourself, then the Most High wouldn't send us out here, because it'll be clear that it'll be what common sense. Like once you hear that somebody's making a war against you, common sense tells you to arm yourself, to do everything to the best of your ability to preserve yourself by your own means. That's common sense. And then the Most High wouldn't need to send prophets out there for your sakes. But if the battle is unconventional and the means by which you protect yourself is unconventional, then he needs to send his prophets out there to tell you, what seems like common sense and the way in which you save yourself is very, very, it seems like common sense, but I'm sending these people out here to tell you that you're not going to get through it by common sense. You gotta come through by what? By you got to get through it through the scriptures. You get through it by a way that doesn't seem like a good way, and that's through the scriptures and by faith. But you tell people that, they say, nah, I don't know about that. Let me just go out and get the gun and let me do whatever it is that I got to do to get through. A lot of people say that. They say, I don't know about that. You can show them all the evidence. Yeah, I see it. Okay, well, you got to get through it through Yahweh Hashem Mashiach.
Nah, don't see it.
Yeah, it's like dumbass, man. But hey, you can only do so much, That's it.
God. Yeah, hey, ultimately they haven't been given the spirit, to be able to receive it, And before we wrap it up, I just wanted to finish. There's like a couple more paragraphs in here, and I just wanted to read that real quick. Now, continuing in this article, it says here the NIDP has taken a series of steps in the last months as part of its plan to expand the use of FADA, apart from making the digital ID a compulsory credential for civil servants and for students. The authority has also sealed a number of deals with some UN agencies to speed up the digital ID adoption, especially for groups like children and forcibly displaced persons, which are basically people that are more desperate, that they're more likely to be able to succumb to this, because especially if they come for students, students like school is something that a lot of people go to, because at least that's how the system has been designed. So if they come and say that, hey, you got to take this digital ID, that's going to be a major block for people. And a lot of them, especially in these countries, their mindset is go to school, get an education, maybe get an opportunity to study abroad, and then go out there and then get a better life. But if you can't go to school, you're going to be out here with us just like that. We can't have that. So you know what? Take the ID. It says,
notice they're using the nice smooth words right there. They said forcibly displaced persons.
Right. Yeah.
They could have just say homeless people and migrants. They just said forcibly displaced. Who else is forcibly displaced? What's causing people to be displaced like that? It's the system. It's all done by a reason. In order for them to bring a whole new patch, or I guess a solution, they're always creating problems, man.
Yep.
But you got it.
It says here, NIDP also has a collaboration with banks to step up enrollment for digital ID. See that? There goes the banks. The Federal Ministry of Justice also recently said in a statement posted to its Facebook page that plans are underway to soon make it mandatory for citizens to present a digital ID before having access to any service from the ministry. And basically, the reason they're doing it like this is because as centralized as they try to make everything, things are they're not like tightly coupled. Like they've been decoupled. It's been like modularized to an extent, meaning like you have different services, like different standalone services that these citizens interact with on their daily, day-to-day life. It's not like the government owns everything. So they have to go service by service by service by service. When they want to make it mandatory, they have to say, okay, now the banks say that if you want to open a bank account, you need to have it. Now the federal agencies say if you want to deal with anything federal, you need to have it. Now your supermarket says so they go sort of in that way. And it's sort of like it puts more pressure on you and it closes more avenues for you. And also, it's like a way of not having an instant rebellion on your hands. If you got up one day and just said, "That's it, everybody, wherever you are, we're gonna come tie you down and shove this thing inside," that's not gonna work. But if you say, Capital One says, if you want to have a bank account, you got to have a digital ID. All right, well, it's my choice. I'm not gonna do Capital One day. I'm gonna go to Chase. Well, now Chase says maybe like 2 months later, you got to have it. Okay, then I'm gonna go to Citibank. Oh, well, now Citibank said. So in that case, you're not really trying to rebel. You're just saying, well, if you're gonna do it, I'm just not gonna use you. But you don't realize that they're still accomplishing the same goal by boxing you in until no bank allows you to deal with them unless you have it. And then eventually you become desperate and you go to them. So it says here, Ethiopia, this is the last paragraph. Ethiopia recently had $350 million in funding from the World Bank for a digital ID for inclusion and services project that aims to facilitate access to digital ID for millions of citizens. Part of the money is expected to be invested in developing other components of the country's digital public infrastructure ecosystem, such as instant digital payment services and an interoperable data exchange platform. So you notice how all these are going simultaneously. They're going like hand in hand. Yep. Like Zaquan said, the NGO said that the future is going to subscription living, where you have to pay monthly for all services. Look at that. And in this case, it's like it eliminates the whole concept of savings and all of that. No, like the UBI, every X amount of time, you have this amount of credits or money to spend on whatever. Now think about it. If they give you X amount of credits every week and you have just enough to pay for all your subscriptions so you can just sustain yourself, that's it. Sustainable living. And if this was cash, well, you can save cash over week by week. But if this is credits, just as easily as they can deploy it, they can erase it. So you got 10,000 credits left at the end of the week. You better find a way to splurge it, or else it's gone. You see?
Right, and you're not only just splurging it on your choice of purchase. It's based on what your social status requires at that point. What can you do with this? Like you can I spent I got a burger for a sandwich this afternoon, or I got a burger for lunch this afternoon. Well, you've used out your protein for your carbon footprint. So tonight you want some meat. You can't have meat. You might have to go on the bugs. You might have to have a bug dinner tonight, a bugged out dinner. You know what I'm saying? It's all up to you. But now, see, it's based on that kind of tier. And then you're going to see all these rich ass so-called people. And that's why lately you notice, since probably the pandemic, they keep pushing this idea of rich people compared to everybody else. Like, oh, this celebrity bought a house for $2 million. Like, why are you putting all this shit out there? It's to create that differentiation mentally that, oh, damn, like these people got it like that. Like this nigga got a private jet. This clown, chubby guy, what's his name? Rick Ross, that fake identity stealing ass nigga, talking about he's getting a bunker, right? It's the new thing. Andrew Tate talking about he's getting a bunker. To the average mind, it's like, damn, like I don't got no way to get a bunker. It demoralizes you. But guess what? If you're of the elect, you're not thinking about that shit. You don't want to even think about a fucking bunker. Who cares about a goddamn bunker, man? You want to be delivered. You want when Yahushua comes back, you know what's going to be happening to this place. It's a stupid idea to want to have a bunker here in America. That's why you look at a nigga like Rick Ross and you're like, you're a full-blown clown, bro. You need to be sat down and spoken to. But guess what? He's not going to listen. And we're happy niggas like that don't listen. We don't want a nigga like that on a chariot. This nigga been living the wickedest world, living wicked ass life. And then he denies this truth because of all the riches that he's getting, his consolation. And then you're going to see him on the chariot. Man, I'll be like, how the fuck this nigga get over here, bro? It's going to be a fight on that chariot. How should I go be like, look, I'll explain later. You know what I'm saying? A clown like that? No, there's no way. You see, so the Lord has his own, way of doing things, but a nigga like Rick Ross, he going to be right here. He going to get cooked. Yeah, he might. Elites might be like, nah, nigga, you black, you can't even get no bunker. Fuck that shit. Like, why would we want you to survive what's coming? Meanwhile, we telling the world that the next world to come, we don't want no blacks in there. And you black, you talking about you want to have a bunker with us. No, nigga, you ain't on the same level. So he's going to get his comeuppance very soon, just like everybody else who's a so-called celebrity. Again, your job is to just entertain the masses while they do the heavy work of the back scenes. You're not part of the inner thinking tanks where, well, when it's all said and done and we have our planet in SpaceX, we're going to have you there to come and entertain the masses. Nigga, they don't need you. Your job is to be done here. Once it's done, clip that nigga. He up out of there. You know, so that's exactly what's about to happen to that nigga. All right. I believe there's a Quan put up some stuff in here. Stay in the Spirit 144. Shalom, Yahweh Shemel Shabrakatah. He said, they scared of the current events. He that seeks to save his life shall lose it. Exactly. And that's what you see now as a trend. But it also shows you that everything the prophets have been saying from the scriptures is true. Because if it wasn't, why are they worried about it? Why are they now all of a sudden the new thing is, oh, we're going to get bunkers? Like, it's like they're doing it in a way to make it seem like it's a flex. It's really not a flex. It's more of you showing your fear of, damn, what these men have been saying is true. Like, what's going on is like really that that's about to happen. You know, Zuckerberg is doing it, so why are we not doing it? They're making it seem like it's a celebrity thing. It's not a celebrity thing, bro. A lot of you niggas on this earth, in American soil, you will get cooked. All right, so don't think you're gonna be on some, I'm gonna build this bunker and it could go here and it could do this. So the fuck what? All right, you're still gonna be cooked anyway. Your fat is probably not even gonna get into that shit in the first place. So hey, that's that judgment that's coming for him. There's
Yeah,
a course.
he got a lot of meat on him too, so that fire gonna burn, because you know fat fuels fire too. Just saying. So you better repent unless you want to be roasted on here. Yeah.
Hey, I think the Zaquan also put something in there. It says they have retail stores now advertising renting clothes.
Yep.
Right. And that's perfectly in line with you own nothing and you be happy. Right. Everything is going to be a rent subscription based. You know, you could rent it for a few weeks or a day, and then you got to take it back for the next person to be able to rent. You can't own it. You know, so them days are gone, man. Again, you will not be looked at as an actual person where you have that freedom or autonomy. There's no such thing. You know, like they said, those days are over, where you could think for yourself and, you know, you have your own mind and so on and so forth. You can go to a grocery store and buy whatever you want. Noah Harari said those days are over. It's done. It's a wrap. So now you go into any store, they have cameras that need to scan you to make sure that you're who you say you are before you can even proceed to do anything else. And that's all going to be linked to your digital ID. Okay, if you're not digitally identified, you don't exist. And if you don't exist, you cannot partake in anything else that exists. All right, at least on the platform that they presented it to the world. You got it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Bruce, got any last things before we close it up? Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
got it.
Yeah, I wanted to read this precept, just going into them scheming against the Lord. So this is Nahum 1 and 9 in the NLT. Why are you scheming against Yahweh? He will destroy you with one blow. He won't need to strike twice. So they have all these schemes, they have all these grand plans and all this, you know, grandstanding, and they, you know, you all know Harari, they have all these plans. You're a useless hack, you know, you're a hackable animal, whatever. But ultimately they're scheming against the Lord. And the Lord is not going to need to strike twice. That also kills the concept that the Edomites are going to rise up again in the kingdom. The Lord said, what? That he won't need to strike twice. He's going to destroy them with one blow. In 1 hour, Babylon will fall. It says his enemies tangled like thorn bushes and staggering like drunks. Right. And how are they staggering? Off that philosophy. They're drunk off that capitalism, that American way, the Edomite way of life. They're drunk off of it. So they are like thorn bushes. They're like a dry, it says, will be burned up like dry stubble in a field. And we know that's going to come by the way of the ICBMs. It says, who is this wicked counselor of yours who plots evil against Yahweh? Right. And they have many wicked counselors that are plotting evil against the Most High God, because they're aiming it at us, but really their war is against God. Their war is against the Most High God. So if you're warring against an immortal power who's invincible, then what is going to be your inevitable end? The grave, destruction. And I'm going to just jump down to the 14th verse. It says, and this is what Yahweh says concerning the Assyrians in Nineveh, which is likened unto Babylon the Great in America and the Edomites. All right, this is modern day Assyria, modern day Nineveh. It says, you will have no more children to carry on your name. I will destroy all the idols in the temples of your gods, which America is a land of many gods and many idols. And what they want to do is put that implantable device in you as putting that idol within you, which we're known as the temple of God. So that's what they're seeking to do. So their war is against the sanctuary of the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So this is what the Lord said he's going to do. I am preparing a grave for you because you are despicable. So the Lord already has their destruction settled, and we're just waiting for that fulfillment to come. Yeah, that was it on that.
Gone. That's right. Ron, you were gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say that we could end it off with Revelation, the 13th chapter, because that's pretty much the theme of this whole running out of time, because they're really about to bring that thing out full front to the masses. All right. Hey, this going to put something else in the chat, in the comment section.
Oh yeah. The quote.
Yep. You have chosen to defy peace, then you have chosen war with a god. That's the Mortal Kombat one, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much what the Lord sent his prophets to tell the world, really, against you elites. All right. Shake the hand, enter into the gates of the nobles and shake the hand. That's exactly what we're saying, that you devils, and when somebody shakes their hand in our culture is a form of a warning and a correction. Like if you're not careful, that kind of thing. So that's what these devils are in for, man. They're not careful because they're not listening to anything that the prophets have to say. As a matter of fact, they deem it misinformation and something that should be deemed a reason for them to come in and persecute us. All right. But let's close it out with Revelation 13 and verse 15 on down. It says, Revelation 13 verse 15 says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. All right. So that's the steps that they're about to take very soon, where those who are not in compliance. All right. It's all about compliance. If you're not in compliance with this new system, all right, digital system, then you will be X'd out. All right. Hence the concept of X. All right. It says, verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. And companies like Walletmore, all right, they're part of the forefront of companies coming about to fulfill this prophecy. All right. Another one is the Neuralink, all right, with Elon Musk. He's also a prominent figure in fulfilling this prophecy as well. Okay. It says, and that no man might buy or sell. Okay, so it's all going to be tied into your ability to execute any form of payments. Okay, it's a new payment system that if you're not on board with, you can't make any payments, period. All right, so that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the charagma, all right, that ability, that small little device. All right, it says, or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So the or simply means that it's synonymous. It's the same thing, just it's said in a different way. All right. Verse 18, it says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. All right. The chai, psi, stigma. Okay. When you go into that word stigma, all right, it goes into the cutting, the etching, the thing that's actually being put into you that leaves that mark. Okay. So it's a physical thing. It's a physical device as something that's going to be branded, okay, upon the people who submit to the system, and to say, okay, you know what, these people are going to be our gods and we're going to be in servitude unto them. If not, we're not going to be able to partake in their society. That's the new form of living, the new standard of living that they're going to set upon the face of the earth by way of biometrics, ultimately into the CHIP. All right, so it's already there. All right, and we're just doing our jobs to give the warning that anyone who takes this, you're going to be destroyed, as is written in the very next chapter, Revelation, the 14th chapter. Okay, so that destruction is imminent. You already see the fire that's brewing in the east. Ultimately, it's going to come to the west, but it's not going to be starting off of, we just missiles. No. It's going to be landing over here. All right, as you've seen many people having dreams about it, visions, and so on and so forth. That's exactly what's written in the scriptures. All right, so hey, stay tuned, stay ready. All right, 2024 is definitely things are going to start heating up very, very soon. And hey, we pray that the Heavenly Father continue to keep us in his good graces, ultimately, Lord, have mercy. remember mercy when you bring in these judgments. All right. So I'm gonna pass it on to you, brothers. That's it on me on my end. Shalom.
God, brothers, got anything else before we close it up? All right, cool. So with that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak Kudash. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. And with that, shalom.
Shalom to the elect. Shalom.